Morning. I just want to see, sorry, I'm just like using a new program here. I see that I've just got a couple people from my Facebook group. Um, could you chat something and it'll just pop up if you can hear me? I think. I think that'll work. All right, it's shoot. It's gonna be strange. I'm gonna have to watch the live stream of my own self on my phone. Unless, oh wait, did it just pop up? Let's see. Oh, it did. Okay. So that is from YouTube, but the Facebook. Sorry, I'm new to this platform. I'm just making sure that, I can see and hear you guys. We'll keep grinding away. I'll just leave this open on the side here. Okay, let me go pour my coffee. Sorry for the delay, you guys. And then I'll kind of show you how I've been building these apps. Good morning, Phil. Good morning, Chris and Bobby. Okay. If I did this correctly and I switch to here, you should be seeing my screens. I hope. So the first thing I want you guys to do is when I've been building these apps, I've been using two different AI engines to build the base of stuff, and then using some different websites to host the different aspects of like holding images, video snippets, sound files, and things like that. And the reason I do it this way is because it has to be free. I am, you understand what's going on in Alberta. There's a teacher strike right now. And because of that teacher strike, what's going on is we're not getting paid. So I had to figure out how to do this as free as possible. Now, the reason I recommend Gemini is because Gemini is fairly user friendly and it's fairly free. You get kind of like a lot of ability to add limit or add things to it in order to have it not cut you off, like needing credits and things like that, as well as a lot of our districts and schools are Google districts. And I find that looking at like my profile here, when I go to code, you're going to see once I start that I'm going to actually have the ability to, oh, sorry, they moved right here, to pro. So I actually have pro as part of my coding options because I'm like a paid, not a paid, but like my school district uses Google as their hub for everything. Okay. So the first thing you want to do if you're using Gemini, so again, it's just gemini.google.com, and then sign in with whatever account you want. You're going to be able to do any of these models, but the Reasoning, Math, and Code Pro version, of course, is the best one when it comes to coding. And then you're going to want to go to Tools, and you're going to want to click on Canvas. And the reason you're going to want to do Canvas is because Canvas, once we start coding, is going to open up a live window of what everything looks like as we do it. Okay. And sorry, I just got to let a cat out of a cabinet who got themselves stuck. Okay. So far, stream is holding up. I think we're holding up okay. Alrighty. Sorry, I'm just checking stuff here because this is all new to me using this platform. But I think we are good to go. Live right now. Perfect. All right. So go into Gemini. So you can do a couple of different things when it comes to Gemini. You can simply just ask it the first thing that you want to create. So if you want a tracking app, if you want, a scoring app, if you want a battling app or whatever the case may be, and you can let it design its base of code and Outlook. Or you can actually go into something like Paint and draw what you actually want it to look like with boxes. I want it to fit this box. I want a menu here, blah, blah, blah. So for argument's sake here, what I'm going to do is I am going to click and I am going to just say, because I'm always polite to my AI in case our AI overlords take us over, I'll just say something like this, and then I'll just say, I want to design an app today. Can you help me with this? Now, the reason I do this is because I want the AI engine to start thinking about the coding side of things. And you want to start speaking slow, okay? Now, what I mean by that is you don't want to say, I want an app that's going to do this and 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 then keep going. And the reason you don't want to do that is simply because what will happen is the app is going to start to design too many things and things are going to get all over the place. So you just want to say something really basic. So I'll just say, perfect. I want to design a student tracking app for for my classroom gamification. Now, if your gamification has a theme or something that you want to use, you would put it here. Now, because I've built so many apps through Gemini already, it's already familiar, which is why I really like using AI as the base of everything. Excuse me. Is because the AI engine itself is fully aware of what's going on because it learns, right? So it knows my style, it knows the fonts and the way that I like the things to look after hours and hours of modifying the inputs. So I'll just say, for the base, I want to be able to enter a student's name, set their health, select a generic avatar. So we'll start with that. So all you're going to do is you're going to just let the process work. And the cool part is you can actually watch what it's doing. And it's actually going to tell you exactly what it's doing as it goes through it. And now here's the code. Okay. And so this is what Canvas is when you turn Canvas mode on in Gemini. Oh, let's go out my power source. Oh, there we go. So it's going to start, okay? And I'm going to kind of explain what it's doing here as it goes. So when your code is running, when it's finished, it'll do exactly what it just did, and it'll pop up the preview window. So now this is what your code looks like in the app, excuse me, that it's created. And so I'm just going to test it right now, okay? Because you want to test this thing repeatedly every single time you make something. So I'm just going to call this, Bobby S. I'll give him 75 health to start. And then make that Bobby. And I'm going to see what happens. I click add a student. There's Bobby. Okay. So now I've got that. So I'm going to ask you guys, what is something you want me to attempt to create today? I'm going to kind of build it and you can follow me step by step here. And then I'll show you how to host the images and stuff. Does anyone watching have a specific request about something? Or do you want me to maybe just continue editing or modifying this app here? I'm hoping the chat is working. The pack opener. Sure, Bobby, I'll show you that. Okay. So I'll just go new. And then I will go to Canvas. All right. So let's start with this, okay? So make sure we're turned on Pro. I'm going to say good morning because I'm polite. I'm going to say I would like to build a virtual card pack opening simulator. So this is how I started it, Bobby. I started by just saying this. And I said, can you do that? So I took its initial design and I just went through hours of just tweaking and tweaking and tweaking. So we'll let it do its thing to start with. And then you're going to see where the meticulousness of it all happens. So I'll kind of show you what it's doing right now. So right now it's building the scripts, which are the kind of animations, the background and stuff. So, excuse me, I keep yawning. So what you see here is you can see that it's building the various background colors, card packages, setting the sizes of things. And so we've got a virtual card pack. So it's created this, it's given it its title, and we're just going to click and see what happens. And so that's all it did. And so now what you do is you would go to the code, and now you're going to start to customize the parameters of things that you want. So for example, I want to call this, in honor of Bobby who requested, Bobby's card shop. Now you're going to notice that I knew that I could change that text, because you're going to see in it we've got an H1. This means heading 1 in HTML coding, and you're going to see that it's in black. Okay. And so that means that it's an editable text. So now if we go to preview, you're going to see it's called Bobby's Card Shop. Now, if you're unfamiliar with this, you can literally just go to Gemini, and then you can have Gemini say, hey, can you change the title from blah, blah, blah to Bobby's Card Shop? And then I'm going to put the text underneath it that says, click the pack below. I'll just update it really simply to just say, what magic does your next card pack hold? Don't. And so again, I go to preview, I check it out. So now I don't particularly like the way this is. I think this is kind of a cool animation and stuff like that. But so the first thing I'm now going to ask it to do is I'm going to say, great start, because I just can't help but be polite. Can we add a few parameters and details to this app? And then it'll say, okay, so what do you want me to do? And now the cool part is that it'll actually give you some suggestions, okay? And so you can use these suggestions right away, but I'll tell you how I use those later. The first thing I'm going to say is, I want to be able to set the rarity of my cards and the percentage of every rarity type to be found in a pack with sliders. The total percentage cannot go over 100%. And so I'm just going to let it do its thing with this right now. And this is what I find to be really, really neat about the whole process, okay? Now, you're going to see it's already done this, okay? Because it's getting familiar with the way that I've coded this before. So you're going to see that it's created its ID base here. So this is your card database. This is where you're going to start creating, and this is where it took me a long time, because I have over 100 game cards in mine. And so I had to do these one by one, okay? So it's going to start rewriting the code, because it's going to start shifting and sliding things around to fix. So you can see here, it's building the sliders, right? So anytime you see anything in the code that looks like this, with an exclamation mark, and then it's in kind of like a light gray, it's telling you what each code does. So this is the text for set your rarity. These are the sliders. So these are the actual physical sliders we'll be able to move around. And you can see that it's set common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. And then it's got your error message if you go over 100% for the slider dials. And now this is the main area it's coding. So again, if you're familiar with stuff like this, you can start changing the way that things look, the code, the color, the size of things like that. Or again, you can just ask the AI to do it, but you want to go step by step here, okay? So now the code is done. You can see because the preview button's lit up. So if I go to preview, I can see, okay, now I've got a rarity odd. So now I test it. See, it won't let me. So we'll go like this. We'll go like this. We'll drop common a little bit. We'll drop uncommon a little bit. We're under the 100%, so we'll add epic too. There we go. Now we'll test it. Okay, so far this is working, but what I want to do is, so perfect, but can you slide the sliders to the right third of the screen and move the card pack to the middle right third of the screen for presentation purposes, and then not right third, I want right left. Bobby, real quick while this codes, what is the theme of your classroom again? Is it like, I don't think it's medieval, is it like, I think it's space? Is it space? Okay, so fantasy medieval. Okay. Now, this is where the coding process gets a little bit frustrating. Okay. And so sometimes the coding needs visuals because it's going to say, look, I've done 2 columns, but when you actually look at the code, it hasn't. So here's kind of a trick that I've learned. If you open something as simple as Paint, this is what I was alluding to earlier, and you just really quickly take shapes, and I'll go like this. Okay. And now I'll just take text and I'll go like this. Sounds good, Paul. Thanks for popping in. I will figure out a way to put the stream somewhere when it's all finished. So titles go here. And then I'll go to text and I'll put card. Oops. Rarity sliders go here. And then I'll put another one and I'll say card pack opening and display happens here. So what I'll do is I'll then color the boxes, not with the paint bucket, my mistake, with the brush. And I'll just go like this so that there's a little bit of color in it. And then I'm just going to save this as a PNG, and I'm just going to call it code guide, code placement guide. All right. Now I'm going to go back into Copilot, and I am going to add here. Oh, my computer is using a lot of memory right now. Whoa. All right, upload file. And I'm going to add code placement. I'm going to say, good try. Can you use this attached image as reference reference to help you design the main layout. Where you see the red scribble should be the slider display area, the blue scribble the titles, and the green scribble the card display area. And, sorry, I just hit my microphone. And you let it think. And so the benefit to doing it this way, of course, is going to be that now you've given it a graphical representation. So while this is doing its coding, and again, it doesn't always work. This is where the frustrating part of the coding thing is going to happen over and over again. Is you would assume that it's going to get it on the first try, and you may not get it on the first, second, third, the 10th try. Sometimes it will take a very long time to do this. But again, it depends how picky you are, how patient you are, how quick you want to roll it out. Being currently on strike, I've had nothing but time. Okay. So I'm going to see that it seems to be stuck on setting it up this way right now. So I'm not going to worry about it right now because this is where the nitpickiness, and I could make this live stream hours and hours of just nitpicking it over and over and over again. What you can do sometimes is you can open the pack and see, did it mean only when the pack was open? And once I open this pack, you can see it didn't. So I can just say, it still seems, and I'll try this one more time, it still seems like the app is set in one single column and not two columns as described in the picture. And so it will take a second look at it. And again, don't harp on this so much, okay? This can eat up your time. And trust me, the card pack app took me about 20 hours to build because I had to figure out the exact where I wanted everything. And I fine-tuned stuff to an almost like OCD like level, okay? And so don't go too wild when it comes to that, okay? So if you're okay with this original layout, then move on, okay? And what I would suggest is when the app is done and built totally functionally, to turn around, and then you'll be able to just go ahead. Sorry, one of my cats is losing their marbles in the background there. So as I was saying, don't harp on this too long, okay? And so what you're seeing is it's like, oh, the issue is with screen resolutions. And so there, now we've got it corrected, okay? And so it took a couple of different prompts, but we got it. So now to go back to why I asked Bobby what his theme was, I want to make this feel more fantasy themed. So I'll say, perfect job. Again, I don't know why I'm tons and tons of effort and of being a nerd and nice to my AI. Yeah, 100%, Chris. I'm going to show you. So it's going to add placeholders, and then you have to replace the placeholders with your own cards. So I'm going to do that step next. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, perfect job, right? And then I'm going to say, can you make this feel more like a medieval or fantasy themed app? Let's re-examine the fonts, color schemes, etc. And so now what it'll do is it scours the internet and it starts to come up with the differences of the things that would make it medieval. And again, it's not perfect. It It does the best that it does. There are specific apps. If you want to pay something called Base 44, Emergent, lovable.dev, I think it's called. They are all specific AI engines for building apps, but they cost money. And so I'm trying to find that happy medium of keeping things free because we pay for enough stuff as teachers, but keeping it also user friendly. And it doesn't have to be incredibly complex. Okay. So again, you can see it's rewriting the code, right? It's going to try to make everything. And then I'll show you how to do the card thing next. Okay. So you're going to see it's going to change my font. It's going to change my color palette. It's going to change my accent colors. It's going to change the pack icon into a treasure chest. It's going to change the shimmer to be more gold, red, and purple. And then it's going to border the colors of cards for different rarities. Okay, so here we are. It is just going and creating. So again, I'll show you what it's doing if you're really interested in the hardcoreness of this. So there's your title, right? And it tells you, so these are the animation for the shimmer of the card. You can see the colors, purple, yellow, red, yellow, purple. So that's going to continually run that in a linear gradient loop to create the shimmer effect. There's the hidden before animation. So it's going to have a little animation when the card is opened. Here is the sliders. Here is some of the text. Here's more details about the sliders. Here is adjusting the columns. Here are your card types. There's your elements. These are the rarities. These are putting the borders on the colors of the different rarities. This is validating the percentage to make sure that everything is within the same realm it's supposed to. This is the getting the random card. So this is pulling based on the percentages, the cards for the packages. This is just the button to restart after the code has been opened. This is restarting the code. Okay. So we go to preview and you can see it's kind of given it more of a medieval flair. And I'm going to do just one thing because I like this. Can you make the background more of a wood type texture, or perhaps a parchment like paper? There's just something about the background that makes it feel a little bit more clean. And that's something from just the multitude of apps that I've built. And I'm almost ready to show you guys this like battle arena simulator. Maybe I'll give you a little preview of it. It's pretty neat. So it's going through its code right now. You can see it's writing the code here. Now, sometimes it rewrites the entire code. Sometimes it rewrites certain lines of the code. It takes a little bit of time, but it is what it is. So now if we go to preview, you can see we've got a wood texture. So now the app is already starting to look and feel a little bit kind of cooler, right? A little bit more on that realm of like fitting the theme. So again, if yours was space, you could say, could you make the background look like a galaxy or something like that? Okay, so now let's actually talk the card pack. So the first thing I want is, can you add a selection button that allows the user to determine how many cards are in the pack? I want it from 2 to 10 cards. So this is important because for you guys as teachers or however you want to use this, okay, you want to make it so that you are fine-tuning it to fit your space, okay? So right now it's defaulting by giving you, I think, 6 cards, and we don't want that, so it's going to add, oh my gosh, I'm yawning a lot today. It's going to add that button that allows the user to input the amount of cards. Okay, so here's what coding with AI is awesome, okay? you can go show, and it's going to say there was an unexpected token, meaning somewhere in your entire code there's an extra little star thing that's breaking the code. And normally without AI, this takes an eternity to find these breaks. But now you can just say fix error. And so again, this is why I really, really like being able to use AI to create these. And so it's going to say, oops, I found some syntax errors, and it's going to actually go ahead and fix that up. So far, is this making sense for you guys? Like, is this helpful? I guess would be kind of the better question. I'm just going to say, can you move the card per pack button on top of the card pack? Click to open area as well for presentation's sake. So I'm just going to move that button really quickly. So again, you're going to notice, and thank you very much, I'm glad this is helpful. You're going to notice, like, as I do this, I'm going step by step and chunk by chunk. Perfect, I'm glad. Maybe we'll kind of do more of these live streams, bits and pieces here, as needed. Like I said, I like this. Perfect, okay? So now... Well, actually, okay, so that's a great question, David. And what I do is I allow the kids to play with this. This kind of builds the excitement. So right now, if you go to my website, which is just gamificationguy.com, and under gamification, there's a resource thing that says classroom links. And so if you go there, the kids actually can play with my card simulator no matter, how they want. When it's an official, like the kids have earned a prize and they get to open a pack or do something, then what I do is I have them open it at my desk specifically. But I let them play with it because it builds the excitement for wanting to have prizes because they want to open a pack. And the funny part is I've got kids that are 13, right? I teach grade 8. You see them like at lunch, they're like, oh, I'm going to open some packs. They open the packs for fun. And they're like, oh my God, I got a legendary, I got an uncommon, whatever. And they're like celebrating nothing, essentially, right? But it's fun because it's building that interest. So when the pack is opened for the first time for real, I just coordinate the opening. So hopefully that makes sense. I allow them to use it and play with it. And then, yeah, Chris, what I do is I let them earn the cards virtually, then I give them the cards physically. You could create an app that would then, this app would then be able to be saved, which is a whole other lesson because you have to create what are called API keys to keep your session, and because they're all web-based apps. And then they could actually link to a digital inventory as well. But that would be, again, just a different process. Okay, so now what I'm going to say is, to go back to the original question that Chris had was, I'm going to say, so I have some card designs of my own. Can you use them in this app? So I always ask things so that when you code it next, it knows where it's going to put it. Okay? And that, I know it seems silly, but when I just kind of asked it a whole bunch of stuff, it became like it didn't know where to put things. So I always go like step by step. So it's going to tell you like where do you want to put your cards and stuff. Here's what I'd recommend. This is a fantastic website. imgbb.com, which is just like Image Buddy or something like that. And then you're going to create an account. It's free. I haven't hit any limitations on it yet. But what you need is these are all my graphics that appear, okay? And there are like 200 plus of them. 218. And so you need these because it has to be able to, because these are web-based apps and they're not being held in databases in the app itself. The app has to be able to go somewhere on the internet where the file is held and then pull that file back down and plop it into the app itself. So you have to upload. So all you do once you create your profile is you just go browse, you go upload. Okay, so let's say whatever, this is what I wanted. You're going to go to what are called direct links. You're going to hit copy. Oh, I don't know if it's allowing me to get to my buttons. Perfect. So you're going to see my code placement button is right here. So what I would do is I would edit it. If you needed to change the name, you would edit. You don't need to put descriptions. You want to make sure that it's public because it has to be accessible by the app. So you can go ahead and you can hit submit. And now when you actually click the image, there's going to be some delay time. Now, again, I'm just streaming on a laptop. So I've got this, I've got AI engines running. I've got a bunch of different stuff. And so because of that, there's like some delay in the loading of things. You can obviously see that. But if you push C, you're going to get this code right here, okay? And so that would be the code that you want to use in order to plop it in. So you can see like my internet right now is struggling. You can see things aren't loading. I'm really pushing my laptop to the limit here, but I'm going to just get rid of that guide. So once you've taken your cards, you want to do the first thing in your app, which is let's begin with setting my card names and rarities. So you would want to go to this, and I'll just do this really quickly. So we're going to say my rarity categories are common, uncommon, rare, epic, and legendary. Now, I know it seems redundant to do that because it says it right here, but you always want to make sure that everything is connected and everything is aware of what is there and wanting to kind of like talk to each other. Then the next thing that you want to do is you want to go to, say, my common cards are, so I'll just say dagger, shield. My uncommon cards are, I don't know, bread, banana. And then, so you're going to do this for all of them. My rare cards are, what do we got here? Metal, armor. My epic cards are, let's say, Wand of Wonder. And my legendary cards are Bone Dragon. Okay, so the reason you want to do this is because if you go to code, and I scroll all the way up, just got to do a little peeking here. So you're going to see this area is where you have to change your stuff, okay? So you can either get the game or the app to change it, or you can do it line by line, okay? So let's say you're like, the name of the card changes here in green. The rarity can be changed right here. And then remember when I went to this and I clicked and I went C and I copied that code that ends in .png, that's important, or .jpeg, depending on your file type. you paste that one here. Okay? And so as you create and add your cards, you can either get AI to add them directly, or what might be an actual bit of a smoother process, because you don't have to wait for the code to rewrite itself over and over again, would be to just copy this whole line of code and then push enter and paste it, then just realign it, because everything in coding can sometimes affect everything in the code. And so you can delete or move around or whatever you don't want. But the key part here to get your image is you have to paste that code between. Sorry, I got my phone here so that I can see what's happening in the live stream, because I'm learning how to use all these new programs. Okay, so you want to paste it there. Okay, oops, I went and copied something before that. I forgot. So there's my thief, copy, Gemini, and then I want to paste it here, right there. And then you can see you want that gap. So everything should work. So when I go to preview and I open a card pack, you're going to see that it's got a generic image already. So this is what I was talking about for placeholders. So you're going to want to change your placeholder images to be that. So again, you can see it's all working. So again, that website is IMGBB, which I call like Image Baby or something. I don't know what it's actually called. Now, just always keep in mind, these images are actually loading fairly quickly, which is surprising. My database of cards is like 188 long. So obviously when the code starts running for the first time, it starts to preload all like near 200 things. And so because of that, you might think your code is not working because you run and graphics don't load. But it's simply just because the app has to kind of get going every time. And again, this is simply because the app is not hosting it in its own database. It's pulling from a web database. And because it has to pull from that web database, there is kind of like a delay. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So then here's where you can have fun with AI. You can say, what do you think I should add next? This is looking good so far. And AI kind of comes up with kind of like neat suggestions, and sometimes things that I'd never thought about. Okay, so see, view collection would be great. Pack counters and stats would be great. Special foil cards. A shimmering overlay, a glowing border, sound effects, right? And so you can begin to layer this like in huge chunks or bit by bit. If you want to add sound effects, I'm going to show you this website, Catbox. This is where I would add, and I'm sorry for whatever this nonsense is. This website is what I use in order to host my audio files. Because again, if you want it to play a song or music or a ripping sound effect or something, what it has to do is it has to find the file directly online and pull it. So something from like Google Drive is not going to work. It needs the .mp3 or whatever file type you're using, much the same way we did graphics. So catbox.mo here is apparently the website that I use for audio files, just in case you need to know. So sounds good, Paul. Thank you for popping by. Is there anything else you guys have questions about how coding works? I'm going to show you one more thing before we go, which is how I do graphics. So again, to recap, step by step, can you load the whole picture of your card, not just an image, and make it in the card A? Can you load your whole picture of your card, not just an image, and put it in the card AI makes? Yeah, 100%. All you would do is, like, if you look here, like, see, these are my cards, right? And so when this is displayed, it's the entire card that is displayed. So it'll follow the same process. You just have to upload your card graphic and like whatever, again, essentially whatever graphic you have here, that when you pull that code here is what will appear in the app. For the tracker app, no, I didn't pull from a spreadsheet. You could. It gets a little more complex. But I made it so I had to go to Google AI Studio. And then in Google AI Studio, I had to create and pull what's called an API code. And an API code creates, like if I show. Oh, I guess I should show you how to also. I should show you how to host these apps, by the way, before we go. So the app that I showed and created for you there, David, when I go here to the app, you're going to see that it creates the user ID. That's how, for Gina, that's how it knows to keep your app saved. You could pull from a spreadsheet, but again, it gets a little bit more complicated and it's more prone to errors. And so just keep that in mind, okay? But yeah, if you just look up how do you add an API code or a custom API code into your Google Gemini app, it'll kind of walk you through the steps. It took me a while to figure out, but if I can figure it out, anybody can. That is for sure. Okay, so how do you host these things? So I guess I'll kind of end this with two things here. First one is how I do graphics. I use Microsoft Copilot for graphics, and I'm going to tell you kind of why I do this, okay? I really like the smart response from Microsoft Copilot. And what I'll do is I will show it an image about what I want. And then I will first say, can you study this image in terms of its font, its style, its color, its graphics, whatever. And then it'll create like a breakdown output for you. And then you'll say, perfect, can you create and in this case, priest, right? And there's another one. And then here's my thief, female thief, male thief, and things like that. No, you can absolutely continue later. So I'll kind of show you, there's a collapsible menu. So like you can see all the different sessions that I've run. So when you're done coding, you're finished, and then it'll kind of name your session right here. And so you can just simply come back to that session later. What I always recommend is when your session is finished, go to code and push Control A and copy your code and paste it somewhere. So for whatever reason, if the code is gone, when you go to build something new, you can just paste the code right back in and the thing won't have lost anything. But I've never run into a situation where it actually like disappears. It's housed by Google, so it's pretty reliable. But yeah, you can take, various length of time to build your app. So I'm going to kind of show you what I mean by learning about graphics, okay? So I could scroll up here forever. You're going to notice it's called Artistic Analysis of East Asian Themed Images. So I kind of show you the app that I just built that I was teasing earlier. So I built this, which is my Battle Arena app. So you guys are familiar with like the way I use battle boards, and kids are really into the battle board this year, and I wanted the rolling element to still be there because the physical part of using the dice is incredibly motivating for kids. Like they're they love rolling dice. Like, who doesn't? But me tracking all the stats on paper got annoying. And so I wanted the excitement of a visual of the winning the battle and things like that. So I created an app where they could pick their guild name. I can set what their health is, set what their defense is based on armor, and any items they want to use. So I'll just have like blue potion. I'll say they got berries. And then their enemies. So these are the enemies that exist in my game so far. So I'll pick I'll pick Demogorgon. And then I'll set the health to 120. Demogorgons don't have any defense because they got no armor and they have no items. And then you can pick the background where they fight. So I'll pick Mountaintop. Now you hit start. Now, this is the delay I was talking about. You can see the delay right now in everything loading. This is the only downfall to building apps this way, because it's like right now my computer is overloaded. So if I was like at my school computer where it's hardwired in a massive network with a way bigger bandwidth, then this loading won't happen all that long. But you can see that right now it's like really grinding. And so that's okay. But for argument's sake, what this will look like if it ever loads right now is it's going to create, yeah, see, everything's just kind of conking out on me right now. Too much Wi-Fi usage. I'll just win the battle. This looks like, oh, you know what? I might be able to show you. Sorry, I'm talking all over the place. Let me go back because I'm kind of going all over the place. So why am I showing you this? What I did was I actually inputted, I wanted it to look like Street Fighter. So I actually inputted an image. Downloads. Do I still have it here? I deleted it. No, I did. So I took background images from Street Fighter 2 and I inputted it. And I said, I want you to learn what Street Fighter 2 looks like. So it did that. And then I said, okay, you know that my game is medieval themed and fights in these different scenarios. So I said, in the style of that graphic, Street Fighter 2, can you create me different backdrops? And so that's exactly what I asked it to do. So it created a series of backdrops. So I looked at my physical battle board in my class, and there's like desert areas, there's desert by a river, there's fighting on top of mountains, there's like a tower in the distance. There's an orc encampment. So I just described, and I let the AI actually create my backgrounds. Then I needed my enemies to fit the style. So I inputted the characters for Street Fighter, and I said, study these, and it did. And then I said, now that you've understood that, here's what my game card looks like. Can you pull the graphic of the enemy and make it in a Street Fighter type style? And so I did this over and over again to create all of my graphics for my fighting one. And I believe it is this one. Yep. So this might load faster because it's not pulling from something. So we'll go Demogorgon, blah, 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 blah. We'll just give them a couple things so you can kind of see how it works. We'll put them in a grassy field and we'll start. Yeah, everything's conking out on me right now. But you can see for the most part, everything's working. I even have a Google API code where you click on it and based on the character, it taunts you. And then when you fight, so if the kid were to roll the dice and roll like a 225 damage, you get a visual, you get the shake. I'm not quite sure my Demogorgon code isn't working. Just want to take a quick peek at. So you can see, like, when it comes to mine, like, look at all my items. Like, there's a lot of stuff. Not sure why my Demogorgon's not working. I probably have to update some stuff. For my own sake, while you guys are watching, I'll just kill the enemy. It actually calculates a victory message, too, based on your name using AI, which is kind of cool. I didn't know you could do that. But that happens with this button right here. Add Gemini features, which is kind of cool. I just want to see if it's just my Demogorgon that's broken. It's a River and Arcane. Or if it's all my enemy cards right now. Oh, you can play music too. Oh, my computer's gonna blow up, I think. Oh yeah, looks just like I just got some issues with certain animals there to fix. But anyway, you can kind of see you can heal your characters, attack, whatever. So that's kind of like the thing that I just released for my students. The whenever we go back to school after this job action's done, this will kind of be the way I run Battleboard. Excuse me. And so I really like Copilot because Copilot seems to be pretty accurate. Again, you can use ChatGTP, you can use Banana Nano. Like there's so many AI websites now. But what I'm trying to do is stick with the big three. So like ChatGTP, and I only use the free version. Copilot, which I really like for graphics because it has quite a bit of input you can do before it tells you you've done your daily use or quantity limit. And then Gemini, because Gemini is tied to my school network. So I get, or my school account has a Google services. So I apparently get a pro version, which I think is awesome. So that's how I did that. So now let's say you wanted to actually share your app, okay? So what you're gonna do is let's add a card collection. Okay, so you're gonna notice my canvas is gone. You're just gonna have to get your code to do something, and then it'll pull the canvas back up. So I'm just gonna add the card collection feature. So again, you can see what it's thinking. It's looking at what it needs to do. So we're just letting it do its thing, and then it'll pull the canvas up momentarily here. Okie dokie. And then see, there's your canvas back. So again, just in case your canvas disappears, you can go right ahead and pop it right off. It's no big deal. Bring it right back in. So again, remember, you can change your codes here by going line by line or asking Google to or Gemini to do it. So we'll just let this finish, and then I'll show you how to actually run this, because that took me a while. This won't host it. You have to actually put it on the internet to host, because these will be web-based apps, so they can actually be accessed by any device. Oh, there you go, view collection. Look at that. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I like that, because everything is stacked and crazy. But anyway, that's something that you could modify, you could edit, right? You just give it more parameters over and over and over again. Okay, so let's say you're happy with this and you want to display it. You go to your code, you go Control A, and you copy the entirety of the code, and you go to Notepad. Now, if you use a Mac, you're going to have to look up what the equivalent of Notepad is, because I actually have no idea. You're going to go Control A, and you're going to paste this. And this is the most important part, okay? You're going to go File, Save As, and you're going to call it index.html. It has to be called exactly that. And then you're going to create a folder. I'll just put it on my desktop. And I'll call this Demo App. And you're going to put it inside that. So the only file inside that folder will be the index.html that you just created. Okay? So I'm going to close all this. Now you're going to go to this website, which is netlify.com, and you're going to sign up, okay? This is free, and it is absolutely remarkably simple to use. So you log in, and you're going to get this big confusing looking page, and all you do to put your app live, to be accessible on the internet by anyone with the link, is you go Add New Project, and you click Deploy Manually. And then you're going to look and you're going to be like, well, what do I do with all this? All you do is click Browse to Upload. Go to where you have what you want. In this case, we called it Demo App. with the index.html file, and you click upload, and you'll say, yes, I trust it. And then you're going to go quick setup, and you're going to rename it, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it demo app. And I always do this. I always put at the end V for version 1, 2, 3, whatever, because the only downfall to this is if you go here and change this code, you have to go and you have to re-upload the file. Okay, so I'll kind of show you what I mean by that. And so then you can click on this green link, and this is what you share to your students. Now you can see we didn't troubleshoot, but adding the view collection broke the card display, right? Because now it's putting your cards in here. And we don't want that to be the case. So of course you would have to go and you would have to kind of clean, you would have to go and you'd have to clean this up, because obviously there's some errors in the code, okay? So now let's say you recognize that those errors are in the code. What you do is you would go, shoot, this doesn't work, okay? So you'd go to project configuration, and you'd have to delete this project, which I know this is a nuisance, but it's a small price to pay for free. Then you go to Google Gemini, and I'm going to say, I noticed that I can't see the cards once they are opened. Can you fix that? They only appear in the collection tab. Okay, so let's say you notice this, right? And so one of the best ways to troubleshoot your code is to let the kids play with it, because they'll break it. They'll figure out something you didn't think of. It's what kids are good at. And so what you'll see is it'll go, and now still does that. I click, perfect. Okay, so now we're like, okay, we like it. The app is good. So what you have to do now is you have to recopy this new code. You have to go into the notepad. You have to paste the new code. You have to resave it. Again, it has to be called index.html. This tells the web browser to read the file. I want to replace it. Then you go back to Netlify. I go again, add new project, deploy manually, browse, desktop. Make sure you take the folder, right? Not just the file. Demo app, upload. It'll do its thing. And in a matter of seconds, you go to quick setup. So I'd call it demo app v2. This reminds me that this is the second version. We click. We don't worry, unless you have your own domain you want to buy. I just use the free ones. And then, of course, you click on the green link. And there is your app. And there it is with the updated code. Does anybody have any questions before I kind of wrap up here? I think I've covered the basis to let you guys kind of go wild on it and see what works for you. Trying all these delays in the video to the chat to the everything takes time. And again, the web hosting is imgbb.com, and then catbox.mo I use for audio files. I have never had the host site go down at all, Bobby. It seems to be super reliable. So right now, I will say no. But again, if one goes down, there are definitely multiple places where you could host the web for sure. All right. Well, I think we'll wrap it up for today then. Thank you for thank you for coming out and learning how to do the coding stuff. If you have any questions, of course, just feel free to reach out. I'll do my best to help. But yeah, I hope you found that useful. And if we want to, now that I've kind of got some live stream stuff set up, I will, maybe we'll do this more. Um, you know, I don't know. I'm open for whatever. Alrighty. Thank you very much, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your morning and reach out if you have any questions. And if I did this correctly, I'll have a thank you screen pop up with my website. Anyway, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys joining me. And have a fantastic Sunday.